Transgender rights. The young transgender community are constantly being targeted nowadays in the United States. Hate crimes towards trans minors continue to happen and it's affecting their mental and physical well-being. It's also increasing suicide rates. Despite this, many states continue to pass bills that negatively affects the trans community, especially minors. These are minors we're talking about. They are children who only wish to attend school and participate in sports like the rest of their peers. But these bills won't allow it. It won't allow trans girls to participate in the sport of their preference in high school and colleges. So if you're a trans woman or the parent of a trans minor, you may want to listen to my speech because what I'm about to tell you can negatively affect you. I've read 3 scholarly articles about trans rights and how discrimination affects them and makes them feel, and 3 news articles with updating information about these unfair bills that are being passed in the state of Arizona. Now, how can you stop these cases of discrimination and help trans minors to be able to play in the sport of their preference? People must go out to the streets and protest and demand the Arizona governor to discard Senate Bill 1165. Also, it will allow trans minors to have the same opportunities other students have. First, let's take a look at the background of this mess. Trans girls aren't allowed to play in women's sports. They are being discriminated against based on their body parts. As stated, during the past few years, only a few women have been allowed to play in the sport of their preference, as stated by Laura Gomez, a reporter for the Arizona Mirror News. During the past 12 years, only 12 requests have been made, but only 7 of those have been approved to play on the team that aligns with their gender identity. Now that we've looked at the problem, let's talk about its origin. Politicians passed a bill that discriminates against the human rights of young trans women. Governor Doug Ducey passed Senate Bill 1165, which bans trans girls athletes from playing in the women's sports teams in Arizona high schools and colleges. Many people, especially parents, think that it is unfair for a trans woman to play in female sports. They think it is unfair for the rest of the players, since they see trans women as male bodies and they think they're faster and stronger, and they think that this gives them an advantage or that they could hurt other players. An example of this is Amber Sensek, a mom of 3 girls who play in sports. She said, if biological males are allowed to compete as trans females, their daughters stand no chance to win a scholarship in a female division. She also mentioned that this separation in sports is very needed. Now, let's see how these actions against trans minors is affecting their well-being. Trans youth mental health and well-being are negatively being affected. This type of discrimination has a significant impact on trans minors. It could impact their mental, physical, and behavioral health. According to Corinna Weinberger, discrimination is associated with higher odds of suicidal ideation and use of drugs. Despite this, discrimination towards trans individuals continues to happen, and politicians are only aggravating the situation by passing bills that dehumanize trans people of their rights. Additionally, a report made by the Williams Institute shows further studies that trans youth face higher risks of suicide, as you can see on the table, and discrimination only is a factor that impacts this trend. Now that we understand the problem and its effects, let's talk about a solution. Schools should allow trans girls to play in the sport of their preference. Trans rights should be refined and implemented to ensure minor safety in today's society. The safety of minors should not be an issue that each state can handle as they please. The government of the United States, and the President should pass laws and carry them to assure equality and that trans minors are not being discriminated. The Arizona Governor Doug Ducey said that they are protecting girls' sports and it's an issue of fairness, and the people who support these ideas call it common sense or being fair. But in reality, they are the ones being unfair and hypocritical towards trans minors. These minors do not deserve to be discriminated against based on their body parts, and they have every right to play as any other girl does. Finally, what do we have to do to start making a change and implement a solution? Where do we start? People should demand the Arizona governor to get rid of Senate Bill 1165. The well-being of trans minors not only falls on the government or politicians, it also falls on the citizens. To start making a change, people should go out and protest and demand changes in law to be made to reassure the better representation and equality for trans minors. That was a lot of information, right? Now let's review the main points. As I said before, trans women are being banned from playing in the sport team of their preference because of discrimination based on biological bodies. My proposal will bring awareness to this issue and demand politicians to discard Senate Bill 1165. Additionally, it will assure equal rights for trans women. Now that I've given you this information, what will you do with it? Will you fight for equality or leave it for someone else to do it? Remember, this bill could be affecting your children, your family members, your friends. It is up to you to fight for what's only right. Thank you for listening, and if you have any questions, leave them in the reply section.